Good morning, Year 9, and welcome to our first unit of remote learning ecosystems. I'm going to be creating a series of videos that go with the slideshow. You'll find the slideshow on your Google Classroom page, but in the same way that we would talk through the slides in the classroom, you will hear me talking through the slides in your study, your kitchen, your lounge room, your bedroom, wherever you're going to be doing your homework and your classwork while you're not at school with us. So you'll be directed to watch a section of the slideshow in video presentation with someone, probably me, narrating it for you. So here's our first topic, ecosystems, and if you have a look there, there's an image that might get you thinking about what this topic's going to be about. So I'm looking at it and I'm seeing some circles, I'm seeing some images, I'm seeing the word ecosystem in the big red circle, and I know something about ecosystems. I'm seeing the sun, I'm seeing fire for disturbances. I'm thinking, okay, like bushfire and stuff like that. I see some trees, some clouds. I see a smaller orange circle that's got the word habitat in it. I'm not sure what that means. There's still some trees and there's a bug in there. Nutrients. Okay, I know that that's like food of some sort. And I see a yellow circle with plant community, and I know what plants are. So this is going to be something to do with living things and the world. Have a look at the image. It's got some words on it, it's got some images on there. And the slide is titled Biosphere, the Living World. So, biosphere. Biology, the study of living things, and a sphere is a circle. So, something about the circle of living things, the circle of life. Let's go Simba. Something about living things in the world. I'm brainstorming what I think biosphere might be. And it's labeling my new picture there. So that's the biosphere, and in the middle is the orange circle, and in the orange circle I see some soil on the side of the hill, and I see some trees, and I see water, and I see buildings and a factory in the background. So I'm seeing quite a few things. I'm not really sure how they all fit together, but anyway, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to find out soon. I see the word atmosphere, I see clouds, I see sky. I already think I know what the atmosphere is, but I'm not going to say it to you. I'm going to let you think about it. I see hydrosphere down the bottom in the right-hand corner, and I see water. And I know hydro's got something to do with water because I have to hydrate myself. I have to drink water. So hydro's got to do with water, and sphere, again, is a circle. So I'm not sure. And lithosphere, I've never heard that word before, but it's on the side of the mountain. So I don't know, I'm going to make a guess. Maybe you've made a guess in your head. I'm not going to tell you what I'm thinking because I want you to keep thinking. All right, so let's have a look at the writing that goes with this slide. Tells me that the biosphere includes all the places on Earth where life can exist. So looking back at my picture, I see that the biosphere includes the atmosphere, the hydrosphere, and the lithosphere. So 3 places on Earth where life can exist. And there you go, the lithosphere is the land. That's why it's labelled on the side of the mountain, on the dirt. So the living things that we find on the land, we find them in the space called the lithosphere. The atmosphere is the air. Okay, I know birds live in the air, so the living things that I find in the air. And the hydrosphere is the water. So I know that I'm going to find fish and seaweed and algae and coral and all sorts of things living in the water. So here's my next word, ecosystems, small parts of the biosphere, and here's that same image that I saw on the very first slide. So what's this about? An ecosystem includes all the living things. Okay, that makes sense. So plants, animals, organisms just means living things, all of the living things in a given area. And if I look at my picture, I've got some bugs down there in the soil. I've got some fish in the water. I think there's some birds. My eyesight's not very good. And lots of plants, which are also living things. There's a dragonfly flying through the habitat circle. So an ecosystem is about all the living things in a given area in a certain place. So that would be in your backyard, all the plants and animals that you find in your backyard, if that was your ecosystem. And the second part of that is that they have to interact, they have to engage with the non-living things in an environment. So if you think about your backyard ecosystem, my backyard ecosystem has grass and flowers and trees and dogs and a cat and birds and bugs and humans, but it also has sunlight and water and soil. Today's a sunny day. It has warmth in the atmosphere, a whole lot of non-living things. It has rocks, it has buildings, non-living things that also form part of that ecosystem. So living and non-living things, because this is biology, they're going to be given a specific name. And if we're talking about the living things, if you have a look at the diagram there might be some things you don't know. There are plants and animals. Pretty sure you know those. There are fungus labelled there, which is things like molds and mushrooms. Tinea is a fungus, the funky stuff that grows between your toes. Bacteria, which you probably know are microorganisms, and protists, which all you need to know are another form of microorganism. They're living things that you would need a microscope to see. And in the non-living section, I've got water, soil, light, minerals, and there's a picture of rocks there, air, and anything else that's not alive would go in that section. So what are these biological words that you will need to know? You will need to know that biotic, bio means living, biology, the study of living things. Biotic factors are the things in an ecosystem that are alive. And abiotic are the things that are not alive in your ecosystem. So things like water, soil, air, light, minerals. You'll be asked to go out into your home ecosystem and have a look for some of these things. Make a list. This is going to be one of your tasks, looking for the biotic factors, the living things in your ecosystem, and the abiotic factors, the non-living things that living things depend on. So if you think about it, your dog in the backyard cannot survive in that ecosystem if there's not air and if there's not water. The plants can't survive if there's not soil, even though those things are not alive. They're really important. Have a look at the pictures. We need a definition for this word population. So a population, have a look. In the first picture I see penguins, and I see that they are all the same type of penguins. I think they're emperor penguins, but I could be wrong. Below the emperor penguins I see 2 deer, and again they're the same type of deer. And in the third picture I'm seeing some yellow plant growing on the side of a hill. So I've got a population of penguins, a population of deer, and a population of whatever that yellow plant is. So I hope you're thinking, okay, a population, the living things look the same, and our definition is that a group of living things that belong to the same species are called a population. They're living in the place at the same time. So they're in the Arctic or the Antarctic, wherever penguins live, I don't remember. I've got a population of emperor penguins. And there in the grasslands, I have a population of deer, and I've got a population of yellow flowers growing on the side of that hill, belonging to the same species. All right, so what's a community then? Have a look at that picture. I've got grass, I've got deer of some sort, I've got zebra, I've got a different sort of deer in the background. I've got a tree in the very background. I've got some different living things there, but again, they're all in the same space. So this is a community. This would be a savanna community in Africa. Savanna is a grassland. So where I've got different populations, so different species living in the same place, interacting with each other, like they need each other to survive, then I've got a community. So in my backyard, I have a community of plants, and I have a community, in my community, there's also the dogs and the cats and me and the birds and the bugs and the spiders and everything else that lives in my backyard. I have a community of living things made up of different species, which are the various populations. Okay, so some other things that are really important for ecosystems, and I am just working through the slides that are relevant for the first chapter of your Oxford Science book. So all of this relates to chapter 2.1. Plants need help with pollination. So if you don't know what pollination means, it's about taking the pollen, which is the male sperm part of the plant, to another plant to fertilize the female part, the ovum that's going to develop into a seed. And as with animals, you don't want plants fertilizing themselves. That leads to genetic problems. We want plants to be fertilizing another plant of the same species, but because they can't move, they can't deposit their sperm, their pollen, onto another flower, so they need help with that. And have a look at the images of some of the things that help with pollination. We've got birds, got some little possums, we've got some bees, and we've got a fruit bat up there in the right hand corner. So pollen needs to move from one plant to another plant of the same species if seeds are to be made. And we need the pollen to go to a different plant so that there's genetic variation and we don't have any sort of abnormalities developing in our plants. So really important in ecosystems for the plants to survive that we have these little creatures, pollinators, that carry the pollen from one plant to another. Animals don't do it for nothing, so that bird is getting a nice drink of nectar. Those little possum look like they're eating some of the pollen. There's going to be food or nectar available to reward them for helping with the pollination. This is a weird one. We're coming into autumn. Just imagine if all of the dead leaves every year just stayed there. I love to walk in autumn and kick through the dead leaves, but if they didn't rot away, if they didn't disappear from one autumn to the next, we'd be overwhelmed by dead autumn leaves in no time at all. So we need something that will get rid of these dead things. So we've got a picture there of a raven eating a dead rabbit, and under the soil we've got some sort of worm, we've got bacteria that are also breaking things down, and in the pictures we've got the green things are meant to be bacteria, we've got some sort of beetle, and we've got a fungus growing on a log that will eventually rot the log away. These things are called decomposers. They stop things that have died from piling up and polluting the ecosystem. They feed on dead things and they use the nutrients for their own source of food. So they're really important in our ecosystem to help get rid of things that have died and to break down fallen branches, fallen trees, leaf litter, that sort of stuff. And when they poo, they're returning nutrients from what they've eaten into the soil in their feces, which is also a good thing, little fertilizer factories. So those things are then eaten up by our little bacteria and things underneath the soil. Scavengers are slightly different. They're also breaking down dead things, but have a look and see what you think the difference is. What is the pride of hyenas doing, and what are those vultures at the top doing that's slightly different from decomposing? Okay, hopefully you notice that they're actually physically eating the thing that has died. So scavengers are things that eat roadkill, eat animals that have been killed by other animals. If they stayed there, they would still get broken down by bacteria and fungi and things like that. But this is a much quicker way of getting rid of those dead things. So hunting dogs, hyenas, vultures, crows on the side of the road eating dead kangaroos, we would call them scavengers because they're scavenging for food and they're eating things that have already been killed in some other way. Okay, and we don't need that slide. That's the end of our presentation. That's just a little tease for what's coming next. So you can watch this slideshow. You can watch this slideshow as many times as you want. You can re-watch the video to help you, but you'll also be directed to read chapter 2.1 to help you with the classwork that will be set by your teacher for this area of study, and you will look forward to the next video. Maybe I'll do a better job next time because I feel like I have stumbled a little bit today, but you know, it's my first time. All right, good luck with your learning, guys, and be sure to email your teachers if you need any help.